here's Brody Brazil.
As you know, the voicemail line is always open for your calls 24/7 at 8334-BRODY. Could be a question, a comment, a compliment, or even a critique. I literally listen to every single message, and then I get to play back and respond to the very best ones.
Hey, Brody. I'm Justin and live in Culver City, California. The Dodgers, fresh from a World Series victory, today announced that they're bringing the restaurant chain The Habit to their Centerfield Plaza, which is a favorite of mine. And while that's not really noteworthy, it did give me a chance to think about how important plazas and mixed-use development have become to arenas, stadiums, and their surrounding ecosystems.
Yep.
And like whether it's the Thrive City Plaza at Chase Center in San Francisco,
right,
the Battery Plaza in Atlanta,
right,
the Intuit Dome Plaza, which works in unison with Hollywood Park in Inglewood for kind of like a mega plaza mixed-use development of sorts. There's always LA Live.
Right.
It's just become an essential part of arena and stadium development. And it got me wondering, where do you see this part in particular of stadium and arena development going in the future? I know that the Dodgers recently renovated their Centerfield Plaza, and this trend of trying to ensure that your stadium becomes something that you come to before games and stay after,
right,
it's a trend that's sweeping all sports. So I just wanted to know, where do you think this goes in the future? Thank you. Love your work. I'm a subscriber, and I look forward from hearing from you. Thanks.
Awesome. Hey, Justin, thank you very much for the call. And I'm assuming, you're a big Dodger fan, so congratulations on the World Series. There's the surface level conversation, to your point, about what teams are searching for, and that is the entertainment aspect, the before and after the games. They want to create an environment for their team and obviously their venue, their stadium. But there's also the aspect of, maybe owning this land and real estate and developing it and doing so much more financially across 10, 20, 50 years than teams have been doing across the decade. So this is the aerial view of Dodger Stadium. And to your point, and what the team has been doing in recent times is upgrading this center field pavilion area. And don't get me wrong, the entire site of Dodger Stadium, I'm not talking about the parking lot, but just the entire structure of Dodger Stadium has been well kept and maintained and upgraded over time. But really, they can't do much beyond this kind of boundary right here, because the entire parking lot, oh my gosh, look at all of this land. Could you put 10 Dodger stadiums in the side of the parking lot? The current parking lot is co-owned with the old Dodger ownership, the McCourt family, as well as the Guggenheim baseball partnership that currently owns the Dodgers. So it's not one entity. They can't just move forward on one decision. There are two parties with different ideas, and it's not just one, again, entity that can move forward with, developing the parking lot, nor would you necessarily want to. I mean, this is still a 50+ thousand seat stadium. You still do need cars to come park somewhere. This is on top of a hill, and that's why obviously parking and getting out of here this way and that way, and I think, can you go down this way too? That's why it's a mess getting in and out of Dodger Stadium, is because of its just location. It is not great for a 50,000 seat stadium. A lot of people drive. That's probably still the most convenient way to get to Dodger Stadium. But to answer the question of stadium districts or ballpark villages or entertainment zones, this is how Dodger Stadium has basically always looked and what it's been surrounded by. May I present an alternate reality? What if Dodger Stadium looked like this? Don't you think the team would love to have something like this, that mixed-use development that takes up most of the parking lot, and people live here, people work here, people come to have food and drinks here before the game? And you know what? Right now, they're just doing that little center field area. What if it was this entire space? Look how much land and real estate is up there to be developed. Now, would you need to keep some parking? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how else you're going to get people up and down this hill or up and down to the site of Dodger Stadium, especially if they're living and working up there. What about all of the winter months? What about November, December, January, February, the next handful of months? What happens up here on this hill at Chavez Ravine? What happens at the site? Not a lot is the answer. Don't you think the Dodgers are looking at this? And if everything were optimal, if they didn't need any of this parking space, right? If they didn't need any of that, don't you think that that would exist right there? Absolutely, of course it would, because this is exactly what every team is after. And some teams are almost maybe fortunate if their stadium is surrounded by a parking lot. Let me give you an example right across the road. If you really think about it, over in Anaheim, they are building something called OC Vibe. That's going next to Honda Center. Honda Center is surrounded by parking lots and a lot of open space because that's just the way they built things in the 90s. And there's also Angel Stadium, which is surrounded by a huge parking lot, but Angels ownership and the Moreno family, they can't strike a deal with the city of Anaheim or Orange County to get something done, because Orange County knows how valuable that land is, and there's still that struggle. But the team has been wanting to surround that ballpark with something just like this for more than a decade now. They can't get it done. But the Ducks are getting that done with OC Vibe. They're taking an old arena, they're surrounding it right across the way from the baseball stadium. They're surrounding it with an entertainment district. So going back to what teams want, like what the Dodgers want, and I'm saying here in that image, that's all a hypothetical, and I really don't think it's a reality because of the logistics. If Dodger Stadium were in a spot where it was more accessible and that parking lot was easier to get to and it wasn't on top of a hill, maybe, just maybe, something like that would be more of a reality. I just think it's not likely given the circumstances. But it's no longer build and hope anymore. Like at Petco Park in San Diego, you build in the gas lamp district and you hope that it gets surrounded by condos and restaurants and office buildings, and it did. Same thing up north in California, San Francisco with Pac Bell Park when it was built, now Oracle Park, home of the Giants. They put that thing in one of the most desolate parts of San Francisco, and even when the city was thriving, it was like, ooh, that is an area and a neighborhood. Do you really want to build the ballpark there? They did. It gets transformed, the entire neighborhood surrounding the ballpark, and here we are 25, 30 years later. It's a beautiful thing. Teams don't want to build and hope anymore. They want to build and own. They want to build the stadium and own the land, and they want to run the facilities, and they want to collect rent, and they want to be landlords, and they want to have the ballpark village, arena district, or entertainment zone that they own. Like, they want to benefit from the value and the transformation of what they know is about to happen. So that evolution has taken place across the 90s and 2000s and 2010s. And here in the 2020s, teams are saying, wait, this formula works. Why aren't we the ones benefiting from putting in the stadium and everything that surrounds it? Taxes on the site, right? Like if Dodger Stadium did build that in the parking lot, then they say, well, wait a second, we're starting new businesses, there's more property tax, there's income tax, all the tax money that we generate from this site, can we get some of that back to pay for what we built? Like, there's always going to be that ask, because with anything new, more taxes are generated and created. And so teams are saying, wait, can we capture some of that too? The atmosphere and the revenue for 365 days a year, kind of two separate things, right? Like a team obviously wants the atmosphere for their own games, but their season is half the year or not the full year. But man, they certainly want that revenue for 365 days a year. And not only all of this, right? Do you get to collect rent and get some income that way and create an atmosphere, but you also get the value of the real estate of the site that you are improving. Like, there's no question about the multitude, like the cascade of reasons why teams are interested in this. Every team wants this, whether they're in a suburban scenario and they're just building something new, or whether they're an old stadium that's surrounded by a huge parking lot, they want to do something like this, or teams that are trapped, they're landlocked surrounding them. That's maybe why they want to get out of the current stadium they're in. Take a look at the Chicago Bears. You're telling me you don't want to be lakefront, like on the shores of Lake Michigan? You don't want Soldier Field to be like repaired and upgraded, or a new Soldier Field built, right next to the old one? You don't want to be in downtown Chicago? No. They'd rather be out in the suburbs where they get to buy all the land surrounding the stadium. They get to own and develop that. They get to make a ton of money off that over decades. Same thing with the Cleveland Browns. They're moving out of downtown, lakefront on Lake Erie. Man, I gotta do all my lake knowledge here. Lake Erie. They want to move out to the suburbs, or actually closer to the airport, because they want to own that land. They want to build a dome. They can use it year round. They want to own everything around it. So you're seeing all of this occur because teams realize what they can get out of it. Now, there is one huge positive, I think, that we have not realized yet about teams wanting this entertainment zone, this entertainment district. Once they commit to owning all that land and being landlords and being in charge of the development, I think it's highly more unlikely that they'll ever want to leave. Does that make sense? Like in a lot of team situations, it's like, well, we just want to get out of the stadium because this is not ours and we rent this and we don't like this and we're out of here. But if the team owned the stadium site and owned all the land surrounding it, of course they'd be making a ton of money off it over the years. But doesn't it make that harder for them to get out of? Because even if they want to move, they still own that land. They are tied to that land. And unless they sell it, but if they sell it, what's the value of a ballpark village if there's a ballpark there and no team there? Think about that for a second. By doing these stadium villages and arena districts and entertainment zones, teams are basically locking themselves in forever, as far as I can see. So if you do think there are some negatives and why this might be happening, and I get it, it's more than just benefiting the fan, which of course this benefits the fan. It's a better experience. It's a better value, but it also makes the teams a lot of money. And if people are against that, at least there is one thing that counters it. That team is probably not moving away from that situation. So let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Also, while you're down there, thumbs up on this video helps me and this video and this channel. And don't forget to subscribe because I would love to see you back here next time.